I call Jam Logie.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I believe every family should have enough to sustain themselves, and that all children in this country should be safe and able to develop to their potential. Supposedly, to deliver that goal, this government's top-line Better Public Service target is reducing welfare dependency by 25% by June 2018. But despite all their media releases telling us how much money they've saved and how many people they've got off benefits, there is no way on current projections that they will achieve this target. Work visas match or outstrip new jobs, and job growth is projected to slow, and unemployment is projected to increase. Government policies do not support beneficiaries getting into the workforce. It just tells them they need to do it. And the government has refused to pick up my member's bill to provide workplace protections for victims of domestic violence, something that could significantly reduce the need for income support at all. The reality is, even the CEO of MSD described this target of 25% as aspirational, and not in the sense the chair of the committee suggested as a positive thing, but rather a we'll never make it sense. And then there's the problem that the evidence does not support their assertion that getting parents off benefits using their cruel sanction system actually reduces child poverty. They don't measure the impact of their interventions on families or children. They can't even tell us what happens to people once they're off a benefit. And they dismiss the growing number of children in relative poverty as irrelevant. And let me remind you, as we have heard from previous speakers, that this is the government that says it's all about the data. They tell us that it's all about the outcomes and proving they can do it, and yet they don't measure the things that matter. And the CEO of MSD told us that they think their case management system will reduce the number of people on benefits, despite the evidence that was presented to the committee showing that it was not likely to. So they don't have the targets that are appropriate, they don't have the measures to improve any positive benefit, and then they tell us that a method is going to work to be able to achieve this, that the evidence says otherwise. And then the Commissioner for Children clearly told us in their hearing that this is the wrong target if we want to improve the well-being of children. He told the Select Committee that we need to set 4 targets. 1, to reduce relative poverty. 2, to reduce material deprivation and hardship. 3, reduce violence. And 4, improve housing quality. If we set those targets, we would ensure that our children were safer and healthier and out of poverty. So I think we might also need to add another target to that, if that's not too arrogant of me, but to suggest that we have a target of ensuring people are accessing their legal entitlements. Because despite the Minister telling us that when she visits the offices, she's hearing that everything's fine, that there's no problem. Actually, we don't have evidence to tell us that. And in fact, what we had in this last year was evidence that despite 2 court rulings over a period of time, Work and Income refused to change their policy to abide by the actual law, that they refused to give people their legal entitlements that have been twice established by the court. So we have no ability to be secure that people are able to access their legal entitlements. And I think that was reinforced again by the fact that last month in Auckland, community advocates helped over 700 people at just one Work and Income office over 3 days. 700 people at one office who had not been able to access their legal entitlements. Now that, to me, is an indicator And at the very, very least, it is smoke. And that the government should be, seriously, Mr. Chair.
Jam Logie.
Mr. Chair, should be taking that seriously and putting in places or systems to audit whether people are able to access their entitlements, because we are hearing so many stories and there is growing evidence that they are not currently accessing their legal entitlements. If the government was serious about addressing actual social harm and improving the health, well-being, educational outcomes and life opportunities of our families, they would start by ensuring that people got their legal entitlements. And then I think they would start listening to the advocates for children and the experts in our society and following the advice of the Office for the Commissioner for Children. But they're not serious. And as a result, child poverty remains entrenched, and children keep dying from cold, damp houses and other low-income related diseases at a rate of more than 1 child a week in this country that we used to call the land of plenty, where there are so many who still have plenty, but they are not sharing. And to go back to this Office for the Commissioner for Children, it was deeply disturbing to hear through the annual review process that the Commission, who is tasked with the absolutely essential role of monitoring the safety of children in state care, say so clearly that his office does not have the resources to be able to do this properly. That there have been negative audit results where there are concerns for the safety of children that they are not able to follow up properly. And this is in the context of a 56% increase in recorded offences against children in state care since 2009, of a 40% increase in sexual abuse against children in our collective care, where the absolutely critical role of watchdog of that system has been so underfunded that they are not able to do their job properly. That is a result of this government's policy, a government that has promised again and again that this is not okay, that they would fix this. And all we have had is report after report, an expert group and a reduction in funding. And children have suffered in our collective care while that has been happening. It is time to move forward, Mr. Speaker. Good change is 100% possible. It may not be achievable overnight, but it is achievable. The Green Party would institute policies based on expert evidence and a fundamental belief that family, community and society can thrive when the safety and other basic needs of our children are guaranteed, when our society is in balance. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the policies of this government are out of balance. I look forward to the Green Party rebalancing the policies in this country in the favour of our children and the future of this country, to give all our families a decent go to be able to sustain themselves.